welcome to Musto Morning from the Land Rover Burleigh Horse Trials. Coming up on the show, we've got 6 times Burleigh winner William Fox Pitt, Musto ambassador now for over 15 years, here talking about his experiences of Burleigh and how it comes to win this great event. Well, many of you will know about our Musto mare who travels the length and breadth of the country, and there have been queues since 8 a.m. yesterday to get a chance on the Musto stand to have a sit on her. It was a competition that was running all day, and I'm happy to say that I have our winner with us. Emily, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
How long did you queue for?
I was lucky I was first on, so I didn't have to queue.
First on. Now, just tell us a little bit about the Musto mare experience.
It's incredible. It's really realistic. But they don't go sideways though, so that's quite a nice change.
And they don't buckle rear?
They don't buckle rear or refuse, so it's nice, yeah.
And are you getting a sort of simulation of riding around the actual Land Rover Burleigh track?
Yeah, it was the actual Burleigh jumps. I think it's a bit easier after looking around the course than the actual course is, but yes. And
what sort of impression did you get?
Good luck to the riders.
You were glad you were on a simulator.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, well, look, well done. Congratulations. First on and our first winner. What would be your top tip for people today who want to have a go on the Musto mare?
Go for it. Enjoy it.
Like you did.
Like I did.
And congratulations, £150 prize. Well done you.
Thank you.
Well, the reason why we know and love Musto is because it's the right clothing for the right conditions. And so I'm going to give you my pick for the weekend of what I think you should be picking from your Musto range to wear. And it is unseasonably cold here today. It's the first time I've walked out onto the showground and thought, ooh, autumn is actually here. But the great thing about Musto is you've got that whole layering range. So I've picked out this lovely fleecy gilet, which gives me that cool warmth. I've gone for a little bit of style with the printed shirt. And the extra product that I picked out is a new one in the range, which is the event raincoat. And this will give you every type. It's going to rain. I don't think it's going to rain all day, but you should have this in your armoury. It's new this year, and it's got the extra down feature in the middle. So if you want to drop the gilet, just go for the event coat. It's got the down feature in the middle, so it'll keep you warm, but it's 100% waterproof. And us riders, we love that full length look, don't we? This autumn 2019, Musto are focusing on their incredible group of brand ambassadors, masters of their field. And today we're going to talk to none other than William Fox Pitt. And if you want a master of Burleigh, then there are none bigger than this guy. 6 times winner, the winning most jockey here at the Burleigh Horse Trials. What is it, William, that makes you so good here?
That's quite a question, first one. I think I've been very lucky to have been coming here a long time. I first won it when I was 26, so I probably didn't know any different. And the terrain at Burleigh is unique, and you've really got to work around that and not be pushing your horse at the wrong time. And I think I've had an understanding for the real physical demands of Burleigh, and I've been very lucky to have ridden some jolly good horses.
Where in your background of training do you think those skills came from? Because this isn't something that just happened when you were 26. This has come about over many, many years.
Well, I think Burleigh is really all about cross country, isn't it? I mean, it's one of the, well, if not the biggest course in the world. And really all I learned about cross country was in the hunting field, and from a young age just jumping jumps and at speed for a long time, sometimes on tired horses, but managing horses through a day's hunting was a great education, great training for actually riding horses 4 miles around Burleigh.
And if you went to see younger riders today who are out there, and we've got quite a few first timers here, because there's no Sir Mark Todd, no you, no Andrew Nicholson, and between you, you've won 16 Burleigh titles since 1987, so the dominance of you three has been extraordinary. What advice would you give to those guys?
Well, I'd say, obviously I'm hoping their horses will be fit, but I would say very much feel your horse all the way around Burleigh and ask him questions and crack on when the going's good, when the terrain is favourable, and when it's demanding, when it's testing and twisting and turning. Take a bit of time just to let him catch his breath and push him on later on. And very often around Burleigh, once you've gone up Winners Avenue, that's the last big pull, I think, on the course this year. You can then nurse the horse home, so you don't want to, and actually then you can make up some time. So you could be quite far down on your clock, say halfway, and quite often riders would panic then and they want to be up on their clock. but then they haven't got the energy to get home. Whereas if you're a little bit down on your clock at halfway, perhaps don't worry, and then use up the end of the course down the hills to cut the corners and to make it up. And I would say very, very much it's important at Burleigh to really feel your horse all the way and not just go to your watch.
Bit like Musto, Burleigh has kept to those core traditions. If you look at the Grand National, you've got Beecher's Brook. If you look at Burleigh, they've really held on to those key fences like the Leaf Pit, the Trout Hatchery, those markers that when you get here, you know you're at Burleigh. When you put on a Musto coat, you know you've got a Musto coat on. When you get to Burleigh, you know you're at Burleigh because of those key fences. Which ones of those really instill the kind of fear or kick the adrenaline in?
Well, I think, historically, as you say, Burleigh is known for certain fences, and obviously the Trout Hatchery, and now it's Trout Hatcheries. In the old days, we used to go through it once, and now I think you've got 4 water jumps, or, they are always going to be influential. I think historically, you've always got the Leaf Pit. In the old days, it used to be number 3.
Can you explain? I mean, I can't imagine that hurling yourself off something like that on a horse where you're basically out of control. Going down to it, I mean, how on earth do you do that?
You've got no choice, I guess. There's no point thinking about it. It's got to be done. I think there is an option round the back over the 2 hedges, and then on a more gradual slope down to the bottom brush this year. But no, it comes on. It's quite early in the course this year, after the main arena, but before the main bulk of the course. But in the old days, we used to start up at the back of the stables. 1, 2 was 2 normal jumps, and number 3 was off the Leaf Pit, and that was often the end of the day for some people because they just weren't even going, and the stables were behind, and no one would want to go, particularly not the horses.
You've won Burleigh not just 6 times, but on 6 different horses, and you said you were just 26 years old when you first won it. What memories do you have of that extraordinary and historic win on Charco?
It was a total surprise. Like, what? I'm in the lead? What's going on? And going into the ring, I think I could afford 1 jump down, which I used up. And I just didn't really complicate things then. It was like, oh, well, it's happening early, and if it's happening now, maybe it can happen again another day. So get in there and do my best. And no one expected me to win anyway. So it was a complete outside chance on a very good horse. He was a lovely horse. He'd been around Burleigh before with Judy Herbert, Judy Hancock that now is, and she produced him beautifully. So he did know his job. And I'm not sure I totally did, but he just took me on round, and all you had to do was kick him. He was a bit of a lazy chap, and I was good at kicking because I'd learnt to ride on a very lazy, good old horse called Steadfast who had to kick on. So I was good at kicking, and that was about it. And it was just shock, and you just thought, oh, maybe I should retire now. It might never get better.
And as you developed that masterful skill, it did get better. How long did it take you to then win your next Burleigh?
It took a long time, and I think it took a while to get other horses at that level. Obviously, when Charco was here, I only had him, so it took a while to establish a team and to get into the sport with good strength of depth. And I think, was it Highland Lad next, maybe? And that was another total outsider. He came here as a young horse, completely doing his first Burleigh, and he nailed it. So that wasn't expected either. And then after that, I came here with the greats of Ballincoola and Tamarillo, and they were probably a bit more expected to do well. So I'm glad they pulled it off. But yes, it just took a while to get that sort of team. And also, Burleigh requires a very special sort of horse in the sport, a real galloper, stamina horse who's tough and loves going. I mean, badminton's much flatter, a much easier course to get a different sort of horse round. Whereas Burleigh, you're very much in the sport. You say, oh, I've got a Burleigh horse, and there aren't many of those.
If you look back through those 6 horses, we talked about the great Charco and what he did for you and your career. Out of the other ones, we've got the Highland Lads, Parkmore Reds, Ballincoola, Tamarillo. They're now all great names of the past, great names on that Roll of Honour. And when you come down Winners Avenue, they just keep coming. The William Fox Pitts, the William Fox Pitt, the William Fox Pitt. What's your outstanding memory of those?
I think it's got to be my first one, because it was like, wow, it is possible. I've won a 4-star. It's all okay. I think that would have. I was younger and probably took it like it was a normal. But I think when I look back, I think the shock of that was the big one. And then, of course, the others all had their own little real excitement about that personal journey, that victory in the end. How did that come about? Well, I would say I think it was very exciting to win on Tamarillo. He'd won badminton, so it was quite a big...
Weren't you first and second that year, which is even more extraordinary, with Tamarillo and Ballanculo?
Yes, yeah, I think Max was second to Tam. And he was an amazing horse because he did loads of Burleighs, and so glad that he won one of them because he really deserved to. But he's been first here, second here, I think he was third here. So he was a real Burleigh horse, and so lucky to have had a horse that could come to Burleigh so many times, because lots of horses, their careers don't last that long. But I think Tamarillo's win here was like, he really deserved. He's as good a horse as he was. It'd have been a real shame for him not to have done the double. He missed out on Olympics. He came second at the Europeans. Lots of things went a bit. Became second twice at badminton as well as winning. So he's had lots of seconds. So it was really good to not be second here
and win it. And we've talked about the highs. You've been here so many times over so many years. Is there a standout memory where you had to really pull into the reserves because it wasn't you come here as the Burleigh champion, but there's got to be some bad moments here at Burleigh too?
Oh God, there's plenty of times when it goes wrong. Plenty of times when you come here with high hopes and it just doesn't come off. And that, I think that's the sport. And I would say I've been relaxed about it, but I've been quite okay with it going wrong. I think because I've had the good days, I very much makes it easier to take those days when it doesn't go right.
As a master, and I'm sure Musto would say in terms of developing their range, you sort of learn from your mistakes. To become the master, you've got to learn from the things that go wrong and the things that aren't quite right.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you really do. And, I've been coming here for many years, and you've got a stash of information which you hope you can draw on at the right time. And invariably you don't. Invariably you forget. But I think it is those highs that make it easier to move on from the lows. Otherwise, the lows in eventing can be quite depressing, quite damaging, and you've really got to be able to put them behind you. And I've been coming to Burleigh for quite a long time. My first one, I think it was in 1990. And I can remember riding a lovely horse around called Fairy Sovereign, and I can remember coming on the way here, and I think I was 20. And my mother saying, "No, you don't have to do this. You don't have to go. It's okay if you can withdraw." And I just thought, why? I'm entered. I'm qualified. I'm going to go. Your horse has, got very little experience, and you're only 20, and you must think you can pull up at any stage. I don't know if she meant any of that, but I was kind of didn't cross my mind not to go. But I can remember it. I decided that the trout hatchery was not for us that year, so I was going to go the long way. And I think he was such a strong puller. It took me about a minute to get through the trout hatchery by going the long way. But he did. He jumped all the jumps, he's clear around, and he finished 20th. So it was an amazing.
And those sort of experiences are then what you pull on when you actually go there with a chance, and you've got to get that experience, haven't you?
Exactly. I mean, I was so lucky to be here and be learning when I was young and absorbing everything. So the fact that next time I came, I won it. At Burleigh, I wasn't a Burleigh virgin. I was, it was like, I've done Burleigh, so now I can do it better. I didn't know that it would be Charker, but it was a definitely advantage to have been here in those inexperienced days, kind of cutting my teeth.
And we'll be talking to Zara Tyndall later on in the week about her Burleigh experiences, and her first time here she finished second and thought, well, I don't know what all the fuss is about, and then is now back here again with a horse that she really likes. But it's fascinating to hear if this does feel like there's a change in the sport. There does feel like there's a change in you three big old timers. Do you think there's an opportunity for a young 26-year-old like you were all those years ago to come out this year and beat the Oliver Townends and the Tim Price's, the world number ones, back here again this year?
It's a good question. I would say absolutely nothing in that sense has changed. You've still got the good experienced riders and the weaker riders, and kind of the greener riders in my old days. So it was no different. I still had to beat the likes of Karen Dixon and Ian Stark, and you had them all to beat. But I think the sport is so competitive. It's very tough. Those good ones now are so good. So professional at dressage, and the cross country is a bit different without the steeplechase. The steeplechase and the roads and tracks at Burleigh were infamous. They were demanding. You were out there for nearly an hour before you even did the cross country. So the horses had to be, I'm not saying fitter, but prepared in a very much a tougher, harder stamina way, and therefore you probably, lots of the horses now that can be flashy and lovely in the dressage and jumping, in the old days they wouldn't have been here.
Do you think they can be here? It's still an 11-minute 15 cross country. That is a tough endurance test, isn't it?
Yeah, I think certain ones can. I think it's still, yes, it's tough, but I think that you ought to look down, look at the breeding of all the horses. There's certainly be very interesting if we looked at it now and looked at it 10 years ago. There has definitely been a change in less of the thoroughbred, but more of the flashy, amazing horses that can be winners. But I think if it rains, it's very tough. But let's hope for no rain today.
Overnight leader Eliza Stoddart, really exciting performance by her after the first day of dressage. Not to say she's going to be in that position going into cross country, but certainly shocked a few people, and certainly her first time in a press conference and sitting next to world number one Tim Price.
Yeah, that was amazing, wasn't it? I mean, that's just the sport. It's so exciting that can still happen, that she can be ahead of world number one after dressage on day one. And goodness, we're hoping that she hangs that in there today, because there's some good ones to come today, but it's not done in any way. The draw apparently is done fairly, so they shouldn't be loads better today than they were yesterday. So seriously exciting for her, and if anyone can handle the pressure, I'm sure she will. She's been around, she's done juniors and young riders. She's a tough cookie.
Well, William, it's great to have you here. Brilliant to have you as part of the Musto brand. And I'm sure you're quite relaxed, actually, now, not riding. It must be quite nice to be here, just advising and helping people out.
It's quite different, isn't it? But it's very enjoyable, and I'm looking forward to walking the course again this afternoon, and doing various bits and bobs for my sponsors, and rather woke up, it'd be quite nice to wake up tomorrow morning and go, won't it?
Well, very good to see you.
Thanks very much.